We're placing an extension on every single natural lash.
Okay, so that's what it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Because, yeah, so if that makes a little more sense now, where you can really like tailor the shape to their face.
So you have to do it on every piece of hair.
Every piece
individually. So you're not just like putting it over.
No. Yeah. So that's why it's, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Before we get started, I have a small favor to ask from you. Currently, 85% of our viewers are not subscribed. My goal is 50%. So if you've ever liked any of the videos we've posted, if you like this channel, can you do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button? It helps this channel more than you know. And the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests get, and the more exceptional the properties get. Thank you and enjoy this episode.
I'm 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗣𝗡𝗥𝗑𝗏 and I love Chicago real estate. Between showings, I stop in my favorite places, talk with local business owners, and bring their story to you. This is my Chicago.
I started because I was doing makeup first actually. And I always loved like anything that was artsy and like design oriented. And I didn't care for makeup, but I don't know, I found lashes and it was a lot more interesting to me. So very like basic, I don't know. And it's a lot less overwhelming, I think, than having to do somebody's makeup. So
Makeup seems like a big commitment.
it's a big commitment, and I think there are a lot of big expectations because people expect you to change their entire face versus like just eyelashes.
My wife and I got married in Hawaii, and she had to pick. We did it all from afar, right?
Yeah.
And so we had to pick. She picked the makeup guy, and I saw her on the wedding day. And I was like, "You look beautiful, but I like how you look normally, right?" And it was this like a big difference. But the guy she picked, he has before and afters on his Instagram, and it's scary how much he could change the foundation of someone. And they looked completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And if you don't get your makeup done often, like it can even be jolting, like for the girl, you know? So I don't know, it was just too much for me. And I liked lashes. There's a lot of like geometry with lashes too that I like.
Really?
With like designing and like angles of the face and the eyes. So I enjoyed that.
I know eyebrows have become a bigger thing because now, like, literally bigger, right? Like women want bigger eyebrows now, and people get them tattooed or microblading.
Yes.
Is that what that's called? Yeah. My wife's parents were here from Korea, and they have the thinnest eyebrows you've ever seen. And
Like purposely?
I don't know. No,
Okay.
I don't think so, because even her dad got his eyebrows done.
Okay.
Because I think they were a little like feminine in his mind, and he didn't want that. And so he got they all went for one day and got their eyebrows done. And it was like a whole day thing. And it was kind of funny.
They went to Korea?
No. They were already here. So we back up.
I was like, wait.
Yep. So I just I have a son 5 months ago.
Okay.
And so they've been here twice from Korea because of that.
Okay.
And so her mom stayed with us for 6 weeks.
Okay.
And then we found this ticket for $700 or $800 for her dad to come here. And so he came here for like the last 2 weeks.
Gotcha.
And while they were here, they spent a whole day, went to this lash person or our eyebrow person and did it. And what was interesting to me too is she did it in her apartment building, which I think isn't allowed.
Yes.
Yes, right? Is it tattooing?
It is tattooing, but it's a more superficial tattoo.
Okay.
So it's different than like a regular tattoo where you use the needle. It penetrates a lot deeper. Versus like the microblading, they use a more shallow needle and they're doing it by hand instead of using like a gun.
Yes.
But there is like a tattoo where you can use the gun and do the eyebrows that way.
And that's permanent forever then, because the microblading fades, right?
Yeah, because it's more superficial. So it only lasts like 1.5 to 3 years.
Okay.
So
that blew me away that he wanted to do it.
he wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I've seen guys like get it done that have like thinner brows.
Yeah. And then they all came back and it was all
Yeah.
like, hi. Yeah.
That's funny.
So you were doing makeup. You like the eyebrows more, or excuse me, the lashes more of it. We're going to focus on lashes. Why lashes? What's the geometry part of it?
So the geometry is just in the shaping. So like using angles, because there's like the curve of the eye that like comes out this way, or depending on like where your eye is when your eye is open or closed. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because your eye is curved. So just like figuring out what lengths to put where to shape them properly. But then you also have to take into consideration like their eye shape, their face shape. Some people have like downturned eyes or like really upturned eyes or like eyes that are too close together. So there's a lot of correcting that we can do with lashes. So that's really what interested me, and the like attention to detail and having a, because we're placing an extension on every single natural lash.
Okay, so that's what it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Because so if that makes a little more sense now, where you can really like tailor the shape to their face.
So you have to do it on every piece of hair.
Every piece
individually. So you're not just like putting it over.
No. Yeah. So that's why it's
Oh wow. Yeah. So it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And makeup, you do the event and it's over.
Yeah.
Do these stay?
These stay. So these last 2 to 3 weeks until you have to come in and get a touch up. So after about 2 to 3 weeks, you have like 50% left.
Okay. So do you have women that are coming in here regularly? Like they just have a standing appointment every 3 weeks or whatever it is?
Yep. Most of our clients are every 2 to 3 weeks. We have a lot of clients that come in for like a wedding or a special event and they get addicted after the first time. So they come back.
That makes way more sense, because as someone who knows nothing, I was like, how often is someone coming to get their lashes done? I figured it was only for events like makeup or hair or anything else. But then, of course, you have women who are getting their hair done way more often.
Right.
And the lashes, everyone sees your lashes. Like everyone sees your hair, but you're always looking at someone's eyes. And so I could imagine women being fixated on making sure that that part of their eye is right. And just like any other part of your body, there's probably parts that you're dissatisfied with. So why would a woman be unhappy with her lash?
With her own natural lashes? Most women want longer, fuller, darker lashes.
Okay.
So if they aren't long enough, full enough, or dark enough, then they're going to want something done, typically. So that's what we do. We also do a lift and tint, which is just we like permanently lift the lashes. So you're only using your natural lashes, but you're still like lifting them, and then we tint them darker. So
How do you lift them?
we use it's like a perm for your lashes. Yeah. So
This could be dangerous. Not dangerous, but like maybe dangerous because it's right close to your eyes.
Yeah, it can be risky.
Yeah.
You know, if you
No one's
you
doing
got to
that
be
at home.
careful. They are.
Really?
Yeah. They shouldn't be like, you know, I'm the type of person that I would do something like that at home, honestly. But obviously, like I'm in the field and I'm very careful, but I don't recommend doing it at home.
Yeah.
Because if you get anything in your eyes, like it's hard to see your eyes working on them, you know?
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, if I did hair, I wouldn't cut my own hair.
Right. I wouldn't cut my own hair.
I cut my wife's hair.
You cut your wife's hair?
I do.
Oh,
She's Asian and just has, straight, normal hair.
Yeah.
And I just cut it straight.
Just straight all the way across.
Straight all the way across.
Love that.
Yeah. She trusts me. I was
was like,
so
"Do it."
nervous to do it.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I have no interest in doing this. And it all started because during the pandemic, we were at my friend's house. And I was like, I need to get my hair cut. He's like, I'll cut your hair. He's an artist.
Yeah.
I was like, sure, like no problem. And he did a really good job. It was surprising.
And he cut your hair?
He cut my hair.
Oh, I love that. And he's an artist.
He's an
like
artist.
Like an artist.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I was like, yeah, you know what you're doing. Like you make things beautiful. Sure, you can cut my hair. He cut it. It was a great haircut.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And he's never cut hair.
Never cut hair before.
Yeah, I love that's such an artist thing. Like when I was younger, I wanted to paint. Like I wanted to be like an artist. And really, my mom was like, it's really hard to make money as a painter. So that's when I was like, well, I'll just do makeup then because it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So I see that's funny.
What made you choose this area, this location? What made you do your own shop as opposed to going somewhere and opening or going and like working at a booth, right? Would that be the equivalent?
Yeah. So I worked at another salon for a couple of months and I just didn't. I think by then I had already built up my own clientele, so I didn't really need to. Like looking back, I probably could have stayed for a little bit and just like learned from the management and things like that. But I had built up a clientele, I built up a brand already, so I just didn't really need to. I was actually working from home.
Okay.
So that's how I know you're not supposed to, because I was doing it. But I think I worked from home for like a year, and at that point, I'm like, I was just ready to have this space. So, and it was like a decent sized space.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything overwhelming. So
Do you have,
took the lead.
would it be a beautician that does this for?
esthetician.
Esthetician.
Yeah. So
what's
I had
what's esthetician? What does that mean?
So esthetician focuses on skin. Which
Okay.
is funny because when I went to school for aesthetics, they didn't teach lashes.
Oh, so like aesthetics.
Yes,
Okay, got
exactly.
It,
So
got
just aesthetics, facials, waxing. So I learned waxing. We do brows here too.
Okay.
So
Do you have people that work here as well?
I do. I
Okay.
do. You didn't meet her. I think Adam met her.
did.
Yeah. So she's here.
And how about this location? Like this area?
Honestly, I didn't really know anything about the area until my friend told me about this spot. And then when I came here, it's super family oriented. It's quiet. I'm from the suburbs.
Okay.
This is close to what the suburbs is like. So I liked that aspect. There's parking. It's not like downtown.
Did you?
I don't care for
No, downtown. It's so funny because when most people travel places, they're like, oh, we're staying downtown. That's the last place you should stay in most places. Like you come to Chicago, someone's like, I'm staying in the Loop. I'm like, why? Why would you stay in the Loop?
Right.
You could stay in Lakeview, Lincoln Park, Wicker Park, Bucktown, West Loop, anywhere. But the Loop's the last place you want to stay.
Right.
Because it's not where people are. It's not where people do things. It's where tourists do things. And it's where business people go to work once upon a time and not really anymore.
Right. Before COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What suburb do you live in or where you grew up in?
Carpentersville.
I grew up in Barrington.
Really?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
So how long have you been out here?
I've been here since I was 17 and I'm 37, 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What made you come out here? Can I
went-
interview you too?
Yeah, you can interview me. Yeah. I went to DePaul.
Oh, nice.
And
Okay.
so I went to school here and I started I was looking for our first apartment with some friends and I had this terrible experience. I worked with 5 different apartment brokers and I got shown all the same places with varying prices, which was interesting. And then I had a very wide degree of professionalism. So one of the people tried to push me into neighborhoods I didn't want to be in when he couldn't sell me a place like in the neighborhoods I wanted to be in. He couldn't show me the right place. I was like, no. One guy, we got locked out of his car. Another person was nice, professional. It was like one person that stood out and that was good. Someone else was really trying to hard sell me on everything. And I was like, it was my first experience really dealing with anything. I'd never had my own place. And I saw all these ads for these free apartment companies and I just booked 5 appointments. And some picked me up, some made me go to their office. And going to their office I thought was super annoying. I'm like, why? We're like leaving as soon as I get here. And then one guy was a younger guy. And when he couldn't sell me an apartment, he tried to sell me mushrooms.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so I was like, this is wild. I spent a weekend and this is the business. I'm like, you guys make a month commission doing this? I was like, I can do this. And so I wrote a business plan for this class I had. And then I started that business when I was at DePaul when I was 21. Nice. And then what I did is I moved in with my sister who lived in Evanston. I lived with her for 1.5 years rent free. And I put all the money I was saving into marketing for the business. And I would get to DePaul every single morning as early as I could, and I would lock down a study room. And then I had purchased or rented 2 lockers. And so one of the lockers was all of our marketing material, and one of the lockers were all the keys. And so it was safe and secure. And you get people in there if they needed to, because anyone can just walk onto the campus, right?
Yeah.
And I had 15 people working for me at one point.
Wow.
And it was wild. Yeah, it took off immediately. It was immediately successful.
Wow.
And it was also terrible. Like it was successful, but I learned kind of slowly that it wasn't the part of real estate that I wanted to do. And ever since, I think less so now, but it took me a very long time to get out of the pigeonholing of being a rental agent. And so I started doing some new construction because I worked for landlords that had built things or done things and they couldn't sell them because, this was 2009. It was probably like the worst time to ever get a real estate license. I'd argue the best because it was only up from there. But a lot of people are like, you're crazy. What are you doing right now? But all these people had places that they couldn't sell and I would cold call them and they'd give me the opportunity to rent it. And then I was like, hey, let me sell these places, And then one person gave me an opportunity, then another person gave me an opportunity. That's kind of how I grew that business.
I'm local realtor John GRAFFT. Check out our YouTube channel, GRAFFT Real Estate, for the largest collection of curated properties here in Chicago. Whenever you're ready to buy or sell, drop a line, let's talk. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this interview.
And now we do a lot of new construction. I like doing new construction, but I also love just selling someone's condo. But new construction's fun because you can have some input on the designs and you see what's happening in the neighborhoods. You can make something that's slightly differentiated if you have a different irregular lot to work with, for instance. And you can bring this piece to it, and you're selling a dream. Like when someone's getting a condo, a lot of condos look similar and there's like small finishes, but when you have your own product, you can master your own product and you can know everything about it. And that's fun for me.
Oh, okay. So when you're selling new construction, are you selling to like a contractor?
No, I'm
or
selling
developer?
to you.
Oh, to me.
But I have to sell the project to the developer to begin with.
Oh, okay.
So I go to someone, I'm like, hey, we have this piece of land. It's worth $1 million. We can buy it for $1 million. And after it's developed, we'll sell $2.5 million worth of property. And before I've ever done that, I know what the price per square foot is to build. I know what the cost is, and I know what all the soft costs are, and I realize there's a good deal here or not. And so the numbers I just gave you, that's a terrible deal. But if something was $500,000 and it cost $1 million to build, and you could sell it for 2-3, okay, there's some money to be made there.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so those are the conversations I have daily. But I also love, like, we just came from this place in Uptown, beautiful home, 3 stories up, 1 full basement down. And it's like 6,000 square feet. This guy's a scientist and his wife's a psychologist. And during COVID, they upped her rent. So she canceled her rent and they run her office it's like the first door when you walk in, it's like a parlor, an office, whatever. And so the home, because he's a scientist, he's very bright, very clearly smart and sociable and like really nice and seems very well-rounded, but he loves working with wood. And so we walked up to the door and he has a storm door, but not any typical storm door that you've ever seen in your life. I couldn't believe how heavy it was. I was like, who does this? Like, we're not even through the door. Now we went to this guy's house expecting it to be tired and old and not updated, but he had done work everywhere. Like he'd put $1.1 million into this property. He paid about $1 million for it.
Oh, wow.
And he did all the work himself, like most of it. He didn't lay the tile or anything, but all the woodwork, he created all the woodwork, he installed it, all of his kitchen cabinets he made. They're beautiful kitchen cabinets.
Wow.
And so we expected to go in there and I thought it'd be an opportunity for somebody else, but I loved hearing this guy's story and all the different elements. And basically for me is if there's things to sell, I like that. I like something that you can talk about, not just here's the kitchen and these cabinets came from Canada. And there's not much there.
Right. But this guy made all of them.
He made everything. He made every piece of wood that you saw in the home. He had made himself, except for 3 closets. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Okay, so you start this business.
Yes.
And is it easy? Is it hard? Like, when did you open?
So we opened in 2018.
Okay.
End of 2018. I would say it's fairly easy because there isn't a lot to keep track of. We have a limited amount of services that we do. And I chose to kind of structure things that way because I like being able to just focus on, 2 or 3 services. We have a total of 4 services essentially. And I just felt like if I spent my time getting really good at those 4 things and specializing, it would be better in the long run. So that makes it easy. What was hard for me was marketing, and staying up to date with whatever's popular on social media now and just keeping up with that and working. I think for me, it was just wearing all of the hats, and figuring out how to delegate tasks. This is my first business. So that was a hard part for me. Also, trusting, I think part of that too is trusting your employees to treat your clients the way that you treat them.
That's a real hard one.
So if you're spending all of your time training employees and teaching them, how to interact with clients and how to make sure that their services are up to the standard that you want them to be, that's where I ran into trouble, making it difficult to do other things, So, and that was really important to me. I take a lot of pride in my work. And like I said, I really like specializing in those few services. So all of the like care that goes into that, it's hard to like curate that in other people sometimes, you know, like you have to really like find great employees and great artists. So,
and your employee is never going to treat your business like you would treat your business.
exactly.
Never. It's just, and it's unreasonable for you to think they would.
Right.
It's not theirs.
Right.
Like you put the time, the effort, the energy, your money behind it all, and you took the risk.
Right.
Right. But someone who's you're hiring, they're like, I want to come and I want to go. And when I leave, I don't want any thoughts about any of it. While you're sitting there, you're like, did I pay that? Did I turn that light off? Did I schedule that one person? Like I got to the office a little while ago and I was like, I forgot to do something. Right? I'm like, I got to go do this. I'm like, okay, so I got to do that later. Wait, I have dinner. And I'm like, so that's why I was up till 12:15 last night emailing someone, right? You're like, that's just what you have to do.
That is your brain forever.
Yes.
Like forever. It never, because how long have you had your business?
I've
Has it been
always worked
since-
for myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was it the same business?
I've had a real estate business since I was 21.
So so you've just continued on like the entire time.
So I sold that company 2 years after I started it.
Okay.
I sold it to Prudential Rubloff, and then they hired me, and I ran that same company within their company.
Okay.
And I was unique. I was one of two people in like a 1,500 person company that had a salary. It was a very small salary, but I had a salary, and then I had a bonus based on performance, and then I had a commission too. And so I was running this rental division, but I was also trying to grow my sales business. And I always had a hard time working for someone because that was the first time I ever got a real paycheck. I mean, I did when I was 17, but I don't think that really counts. It was all the ass kissing.
Yeah.
So I was part of this big company and I was the youngest person on the leadership team. But I'd watch these people just kiss people's ass all day long. I was like, I can't do that. Like, we all know you're ass kissing. How does that person not? They know you're ass kissing, so don't you get pushed down in their book?
Right.
That's how I think. I've learned that my thinking is foreign, and that I don't think a lot of people think that way. But for me, it was so like cringy.
Yeah, and that's funny that you say that because those are the types of people that you want to find.
They want to kiss your ass.
They want to kiss your ass, and I feel
Do you?
like, well, I think for me, like I don't know, because
Or do you think they're going to kiss the client's ass?
I feel like
Because those are the people you want.
Yeah, so I don't know, just ass kissers in general.
But
Like
it can be real.
they gotta kiss my ass a little bit too, because I need them to. No. Okay.
I don't think so. I don't want anyone to kiss my ass. I want people to like really treat me right. I want people to treat me the way I treat them, but I want them to be real with me. Like
Okay, that's true.
like Adam has input that I miss things and he has it, right?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want him to ever hold back because he's afraid he's gonna because I had the original idea and he's like, oh, but my idea is better. No, the best idea wins. I don't care if
Yeah.
it's my idea or his idea or whoever it is. I just want good ideas. And I think you need people that bring that type of energy. But at the same time, especially in a business like this, now if I'm hiring an agent, like an agent is out working with people, they have to have a certain demeanor, and not kiss people's ass, but people need to feel important. And I guess that's the job. That's all, everybody does that every day, is they're trying to make someone feel important, because that's how you gain their trust a little bit, I guess.
Yeah. So I think maybe then my definition of ass kissing is a little different, because it's not like not being fake.
Yes.
Because you want to be genuine.
Yes.
You know, and I feel like that's how I want my employees to be with me. I want you to be genuine, but like there's a level of respect there, and like that at the end of the day, like your job is to make sure that we're all on the same page. Mm-hmm. But like I write the pages. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean in terms of like ass kissing. So I want to make sure that everyone
They need to know their role.
They need to know their role.
Yes.
Exactly. That's a better way to put it.
Like when I had 15 people working for me, it was the worst time. Work-wise, it's the worst. And the money wasn't even like what you would expect if you had 15 people working for you, right?
Interesting.
And what I learned is when I have lots, and I've gotten better at this, I also think it's totally on me, because it's who I hired. Mm-hmm. And I was 24, 22, 23, 26, 20, like I'm still figuring it out.
Right.
I'm still figuring all the things in life. And so I learned that having people didn't equate to success. And my idea was I'm just going to hire people, like get these agents. They're going to go out, they'll figure it out. But what I really learned was I was never responsible for their success, and I was always responsible for their failure. And that's what bothered me. And so I had a long hiatus of not having anyone work for me, because that didn't sit right with me. And then like some people take advantage of you, and then some people steal from you, and you find these things out and you're like, just slow down. Like, let me really tap into what I'm doing, get that on a good course, and then maybe I can hire one person. And like Adam's worked for me since basically COVID. Before that, I had someone working for me. And I had people work for me on and off, but I didn't have any agents working for me for like a few years. And it allowed me to really get better at what I was doing and figure that out. And now we have a few people working with us. One person who's very active, and like it's been a great experience because I hired right this time.
Yes. Yeah. That's how I feel with her.
Good.
With Nadia. Yeah. Where I did the same thing. I had an employee, and it just wasn't working. And for her specifically, it was just hard to like, I don't know, like you have to really enjoy the industry that you're in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to have that like passion in order to have the motivation to get better. And it's hard to find. And I think I had to do the same thing where I had to figure out like, what is it that I want and need, and what am I doing with my plan, and just getting clear on that, and also figuring out like how to pick a good employee.
Yeah.
That's something that I had to learn too.
Yeah. I don't even think I've learned that. I have ideas, and I think I have a concept.
Right.
But knowing for certain, no, I would never be so arrogant.
Yeah, you can never really know.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like risk. And I think, I don't know, can you even like prepare yourself enough to like mitigate that risk fully? No.
How did you feel comfortable? So I had an office when I was 22, I think, or 23. And really what it was a second level apartment that was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and it had doors. And so one of them was my bedroom, one of them was an office, and I just always had that one door closed. And I just acted like I wasn't living there. Like every morning I would literally take all the stuff out of the shower and like put it into somewhere so no one would see it. So it just looked like it was a bathroom. There happened to be a shower here.
Yeah.
And now I have this office, and this office is a great office. We built it out. It's beautiful. But it's risky. Like it's a lot. It's a lot to undertake. How did you feel?
Working from home or just?
No, opening this. Like opening a space is such a bigger commitment because you're like, I owe that landlord money every single month.
So I definitely, okay, I'm an overthinker. And I remember thinking about opening a space, and I had to just not overthink it, which was like good and bad. Because I didn't like spend time like doubting myself, but I could have also prepared a lot better. And I could have done a lot more research.
Do you really think so? Or do you think you would have only really figured those things out once you jump in?
I don't know, honestly, right? Like, how can you know? I think, yeah, right? Like, I would, of course, in hindsight, I would do it differently. But
that's what everyone says.
Right. At the time, I just remember thinking, like, if I overthink this, like, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to see way too much risk. I'm going to see way too many, like, opportunities to fail, and I'm not going to do it. So I didn't really think about how I was feeling. I think I just wanted to do it, and I was like, I'll just figure it out as I go, and it'll be fine. Like, I knew what I was making, and I knew that I could maintain, like, this place because of that, and so I knew that would be fine, and, like, owing the money to the landlord, you know. And I was confident in that, but the commitment, I didn't really think about, you have to sign, like, a 5-year lease here, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. So I kind of just, like, pretty blindly went in.
Well, I think you lucked out for the location.
Yeah.
You know, because do you live in the city?
I do, yeah.
Did
I
you
live
then?
like 2 blocks away. I didn't.
You didn't?
I did not.
So you're kind of just trusting your friend who was going to open a bar and then didn't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which that was like, oh.
That's real lucky.
Gosh. Yeah.
Because I know people that have done something similar, but they did it and they're like up in Edgewater or they're further west or whatever. And they're like, yeah, you know, someone said this is a good neighborhood. And like never really tested the waters of it. And those people don't have those spaces anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I did get lucky here. I don't think I did a lot of research on the neighborhood. I think just coming back and like coming up here a few times, I saw like, all right, it seems pretty nice. You see families all over, and I felt like that was a good indicator of what the area would be like, but I didn't really look into that either.
Did you look at any other storefronts?
I did.
did? Okay.
Because I was at the time I was living in Pilsen, so I was looking at places in Pilsen. I actually had a not good experience with like the realtors down there, and I was emailing people and nobody would get back to me. And I think a lot of the spaces down there they save for like art galleries.
Yeah.
So, which I didn't know because nobody was responding.
Yeah.
So I found that out, and then I found this place, and the broker realtor, he was super nice and super helpful. So I was like, all right, let's do it. Nobody else is.
This is much better than Pilsen.
This is so much
your
better than
business,
Pilsen.
you probably, I don't know, you may not be doing the same thing if you opened it up in Pilsen.
Right.
That's what's crazy. Those little small decisions, it's a big decision, but that decision of where you're located could really make all the difference in the world.
Totally. And I ended up moving up here, which that made my life so much better.
Smart, you're 2 blocks away.
Yes.
Real smart.
Yeah.
My office is below a development we sold out. And I think one of my biggest regrets of see, the timing wasn't perfect, but of course you're like, yeah, that's what you should have done. I should have
Right.
bought one of the units. And I'm like, that would have been really nice. And like, I could have got a better deal, but I don't know. You know, who knows?
Yeah. To live in, you mean?
To live above.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That
It's
would
not
be
that
nice.
important.
Right?
I live 14 minutes away. And I always say, I live in Old Town. And everything I do, every time I come home, my car tells you how long you've been in the car. And it's like, always says 14 minutes. Like no matter what I do. And that's why I live in Old Town, because the centrality of Old Town is so important to me. Okay. What don't you like about this business?
It's probably the responsibility. It's a lot of responsibility, and I think sometimes that means like lack of freedom. Like you can never truly disconnect. And I'm also like I'm married, I have a kid, so it's hard when I'm thinking about work all the time. And I think that's my least favorite part.
How do you deal with having a kid? How old's your child?
He's 13.
13.
Yeah, he's 13.
Well, hold on.
Don't start doing math.
Okay. So as a mother, you became an entrepreneur.
Yes.
That's frightening. No?
It was frightening. I think again at the time, I think it was just something that I wanted so badly. That wasn't something I weighed.
The business or the baby?
The baby.
Okay.
So he was 7. No, he was 7 when I opened this. He was 5 or 6 when I started doing lashes.
Okay.
So I still get to make my own schedule. You know what I mean? I don't think I realized the responsibility of having like a storefront and having a kid. So yeah, it's a lot. And I just have to really try to manage my time.
You know what's funny about having an office or a storefront? I just spent 5 minutes cleaning out a dog bowl that I leave outside for water for dogs, right?
Right.
I feel like that's part of my job. That's part of the weekly things I have to do.
That's a perfect example of just like, oh, that's another thing, like random thing I have to remember to do.
Yeah.
And the to-do list is just like ever going on.
Is your son's father your husband?
He is not.
He is not.
He is not.
So you have to deal with that as well.
So actually, luckily for me, I mean, it's the better option that we don't have to deal with him at all.
Okay.
So that's nice.
Okay, that's good.
It's nice. And then I got married a little over a year ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So
Someone you met around here?
No, he actually lives in Lake in the Hills,
Okay.
where I grew up.
Okay.
So
So you went to the
random,
suburb?
but
Is he moving here? You guys live here?
We live here,
Yeah.
but my lease will be up, so we're gonna move to the suburbs.
You're gonna move to the suburbs?
Move into the suburbs.
So is this gonna be here?
This is gonna be here.
How are you gonna do that?
Be here. I'm gonna commute. My hours are nice because I can do like 11 to 7.
Okay.
And miss traffic. Otherwise, that would be really hard.
What was it like raising a son so young? I'm making assumptions on your age, but I think I'm pretty
Right. So I was like, oh, he's doing math now. Yeah, I was
the
really
math's been
young.
done.
It's been done.
It's
Yeah.
been done.
Did he tell you? Did they ask how old I was?
Nope.
Did they? Okay.
But I'm just, I got like a 5-year window, I think.
Yeah. I was 17.
Okay.
And it was hard. I think I always worked, you know, so I was always able to like support myself and my son like financially, but I think I like I'm not super close with a lot of my family, so that was hard. There wasn't a lot of support, which I didn't realize until recently. You know, I think until I like married my husband and
The
his
lack
family's
of
there.
support in family,
Yeah.
like what it was like to have it.
Yeah, because I would then like later on, most of my friends like didn't have kids. So once I started to get around like, you know, 27, 28, and my friends are starting to get married and have kids, and they have their family, they have their parents, I was like, oh my God, like I have been missing that. And I just didn't know because I was so like involved in,
Because you don't know.
Right, because
You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
How are you going to feel not being able to walk everywhere?
I don't know. That's going to be hard. I'm just going to come in at 10:30, 11, pretend. I have my like little breaks and I'll walk to the left coast or whatever and just pretend that at the end of the day I have to drive all the way back home.
I walked 5 acres down a driveway to get to the school bus every day.
Okay. And that was your whole like childhood?
That was a whole childhood.
Okay.
Yeah. I went to military school for 1 year.
Oh, wow.
And then, because we were supposed to move, and then where we were going to move, the schools were terrible. I went and visited the schools. Here's a funny story. So it's Antioch, Illinois,
Okay.
and Barrington has good schools. And I liked school. I always did well in school. And so I was like, let's go look at the schools. Long story short is my dad was a real estate investor. He bought this home in Antioch. To get to this home, you passed $10,000 and $20,000 homes. But the home itself had a 17-car garage, a helicopter pad, and it was on a peninsula all around Lake Murray. And so it's the coolest piece of property you've ever seen. And he couldn't sell it. So he bought it for like next to nothing. It was a quack. It was a doctor who got indicted by the FBI, and they had to liquidate all his assets.
Oh my God.
So he purchased this home, and then he rehabbed it. No one would buy it. And I watched the whole rehab process, and I was a kid. My dad was like, "What do you think about moving to the house?" I was like, "I'm in. Like, let's move to this house. This house is unreal." And so we were going to do that, and we visited the schools, and we had a computer lab at Barrington. The principal of the school was showing me his computer. He was like, it could talk. It was like those early Macs. He was like, duh, 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 duh.
Yeah.
I was like, I know. I use this every day. Well, that was the only computer in the school at the time. And so I was like, I'm not going to this school. So my dad was like, well, there's boarding school and there's military school. And so I decided to go to a military school. And then as soon as I went to military school, we sold the house.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was there for a year, which I think was the best experience I ever had. I'll send my son to military school for 1 year, and then he can decide if he wants to stay. But it taught me how to be a man. But that's my only experience outside of living on, with horses and stuff.
Yeah. So you didn't go to school in Barrington?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I went to Barrington High School.
Oh, you went to Barrington High School.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you go to Barrington High School?
I didn't.
Okay.
I did not. I went to Dundee Crown High School.
Okay.
I wanted my son to go to Barrington High School. That's one of the schools that we're looking at.
Is it?
Yeah.
So are you guys looking at homes then?
Yes. Should we call you? Are you?
I can give you a referral in the suburbs. Yeah,
To someone in the suburbs?
Yeah, I don't work in the suburbs. I wouldn't be your best choice because
Yeah.
like I have my own area, right? If you want something around here, great. I'm great at that. But no, it always cracks me up because there's so many realtors that'll go anywhere. And I'm like, that's not good for your clients. And it's not good for you either. Like, do you really want to drive an hour and a half to a suburb that you're unfamiliar with and start showing people homes just for the commission? Like, you can find the commission around here. Don't do that.
Yeah.
And I think it's very poor thinking.
Specialize.
Exactly. The 4 things, right?
The 4 things.
And so that's what I would do. But yeah, do you guys have a realtor?
We don't.
You know?
No.
I'll refer you to someone out there.
Okay.
I have someone. What I've done is I've spent years building these relationships with all these really good realtors in all these different areas, and I just refer out to them.
Nice.
Yeah, and they do the same thing back to me.
Yeah.
And so that's a much better way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
What are you looking for in a house?
I don't know yet. I haven't looked at anything. I think we're gonna wait like 6 months or something, and then buy. But like I don't know the interest rates. That's like my husband's.
They're just as likely to go up. I'd say they're more likely to go up than go down.
Really?
Yeah. Like so if that's the only reason you're waiting, I wouldn't wait for that reason.
So they're more likely to go up. So
that's my opinion, but we've had low interest rates for so long that the odds of them going down, like we just can't do it as an economy. They really need to stop the spending.
Yeah.
And no one wants to put us into a recession, but like we kind of need to be in a recession. That's the only thing that's going to stop the inflation that we're experiencing.
Right.
And so people need to calm down and like not go buy a new iPhone just because it came out, and not go out to dinner and not get all your Uber Eats all the time, and start, because you also watch the graphs on credit card debt, and it's just going, it's higher than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Ever been.
Yeah.
So it's not that people can afford this stuff.
Right.
And so I was in Brazil. I've been married twice. This is my second marriage. My first wife was Brazilian. I went to Brazil for 5 weeks. And the first thing that blew my mind about Brazil is I walked into a grocery store and they had a credit card line. And it wasn't like, Amex setting up a booth here. No. It's like, here's the grocery store credit card. Everyone is buying their groceries on credit and like with a payment plan. And so an appliance, if you go to buy an appliance here, what does it say? It says the price, right?
Okay.
There were no prices for anything. Everything was, this is your monthly payment for the next year. So for the next 12 months, you're going to pay this amount. You didn't even know what it costs. There was no price tag on appliances or anything. And I was like, this is absurd. But now you're starting to see the same exact thing here.
Yeah.
And that was in, when was I married? I got married in 2011. So that was like 2012.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah, that's everything now. Like Affirm, Afterpay.
That's right.
I've gotten so many emails
Yep.
for buy a house.
Yeah.
Here's a credit card.
Yep.
Personal, like, oh my,
Well, everything's about a payment plan now.
Yeah.
And that's not sustainable.
Right.
You can't have an economy that's based on people always being in debt.
Right. So what causes the recession if they lower the interest rates?
So the theory is if you reduce interest rates, if you raise interest rates, money becomes more expensive. And so, which means people aren't artificially raising the prices of things, because things don't go down because money is cheaper. What happens is all the base prices, all the values of things go up. So during COVID, when everything was happening, you saw things kind of skyrocket in price. Like I have a friend who does real well, and he has like luxury items. Well, he owned a Ferrari before, though he had bottom line is he made $250,000 selling his Lamborghini. That's never happened before. People lose money buying these type of luxury items, right?
God, yeah.
And so now the base price of something went up. The base price of real estate went up. The base price of Rolex watches went up. Like all luxury items went up by like 30%. Well, that happened because there was so much stimulus, but also because interest rates were so low, so you could borrow money at the cheapest rate you ever could in history. So because of that, people have too much money. And so the prices are artificially rising, but they're never going to come down.
Right.
And so over the last 52 years, corporations are making more money than they've ever made. So this isn't about things being more expensive.
Or being worth more.
That's correct. And so there's an article in Fortune a couple weeks ago, and they really termed this well. They said this is greedflation. So companies have realized that people are just going to pay. And that's the problem, is you have today's consumer, which are too many young people that have too much easy access to credit and are also like, I'll just live with my parents.
Right.
That's a big problem. People can't live with their parents. People are living with their parents and having a BMW in the driveway and have a huge amount of credit card debt. People's priorities are completely out of whack. And I think that's what's happening.
Yeah.
That's my opinion of living and working in what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So now I have so many other questions.
Yeah. Keep going.
So where does like all of the money printing fit into all of this?
So over 70% of the dollar bills in circulation right now have been printed in the last 10 years.
Right. Like through COVID, right? It was like
Yep.
a huge percentage happened during. Okay.
And most of those went to corporations that didn't need them.
Yes.
Like I know someone who owns a business, very profitable business. They make, how can I say this without it being too specific? They make specialty parts for things.
Okay.
They got a PPP loan that was over $1 million. They were the busiest they ever were. They were the most profitable they ever were. And they just filed and they never had to return that money. And so lots of people got lots of money they should have never gotten. And it all came from us. It all came from the American consumer,
Yeah.
Americans. And so we all paid for that. And so that's where that money went. That money went, majority of that money went in the hands of people, not the stimulus checks. Like the stimulus checks were like $600 or something.
Right.
That's not what was stimulating the economy.
Right.
What was stimulating the economy is people buying a G-Wagon for 3% and then flipping it to somebody else.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so you had a lot of that. You saw it in real estate, you saw it in luxury items, you saw it in everything. Yeah. And so the only thing that can bring the economy back down to speed is if people stop spending.
So how does that happen? Because I know this happened in like 2008.
Yeah, but it didn't because the world was so different.
Okay.
Like in 2008, people were sincerely scared. I haven't seen anyone who's really scared.
Right.
We've been talking about a recession forever. I mean, literally for 5 years, I thought a recession was going to happen. From like 2018 on, I was like, we've had 10 years of success. Every financial model you look at previously, like 10 years is kind of the time. There's something that happens, some black swan event like COVID, something that happens that creates a downfall, but usually creates an economic downfall. We didn't have that. You know, like when COVID happened, restaurants and small businesses got really hard, but if people were ordering things, they were buying things didn't stop. What happened with your business?
As soon as we were able to open, it was crazy. It
Through
was
the roof,
busiest
right?
we had, ever been.
Yeah. No one wants to sit in front of Zoom calls anymore.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, I want to look pretty again. Like, the sweatpants are gone. I want to go out there. I want to have fun. I want to look good. My business never changed at all.
Yeah.
No, never at all. People are still buying real estate.
People are still buying houses.
Yeah, the whole time. So, back to what you're looking for in a home. What do you guys want?
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I want enough space. Like, we want to have more kids. So, if I were to get a home, I would say 4 bedrooms. I want a basement, a backyard, like something with space, obviously.
So, you want that stereotypical suburban, not stereotypical in a bad way, but like when people think of family home, you want that family home. So, you're going to start a family with a new husband?
Yes.
That's cool.
A new family.
Yeah. New family with your son.
Yes, with my son. Yep.
I have 2 half sisters, so it's great. And I don't call them, like, they were never half sisters.
Yeah.
But just to make that understandable for you.
I have a half brother.
There you go.
My mom, got it. So
You're not concerned about the commute. So would you open one of these out there?
I considered it. What that would be like,
Should open in Barrington.
I that's exactly right. My dad works in Barrington.
Okay.
I don't know if you know where Heinen's is.
Heinen's?
It's a grocery store.
I do know where that is.
Yes.
In Deer Park.
I don't know if there's one in Deer Park, but there's one
off
in
12?
Barrington. It's on like, what is that, Huff Road? There's the metro station is right there.
Oh, they have the one in a weird location, kind of. For Barrington people, it's a strange location.
Right, it's like that weird intersection.
Yes, yeah.
So
I know
joking.
exactly where it is. So that's a perfect example. Those are something I call a map location. So there's this building that went up at Clark and North Avenue. If you were talking to some investor in different states or different country, which is the company that built this, that's where they get their money from, they'd be like, this is the best location in the world. Look, the park's right there. Gold Coast is here. Lincoln Park's across the street. Like, this is a no-brainer. Well, if you live or you work or you're familiar at all with that area, you'd be like, you're going to build $3 million condos here? No one's going to buy these. This is not a good move. And that's what happened. They never sold. And it was like a huge failure.
God.
Yeah, they're beautiful units. They're beautiful inside, but for $3 million for what you're offering, the person who has $3 million can get lots of different things. They're not going to buy that.
Right.
And so for that location, people driving past there, they're never going to, like, people don't pull into there.
Yeah, it's such a weird intersection,
That's right.
He was saying. Yeah.
I forgot it was
Except
even
for the
there.
grocery store. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
But you should. Like, if you have one here, then you have one there. And that's the idea. Like, you keep opening these up, right? Do you feel comfortable that you've had this long enough? Like, do you feel like you understand it and you can do it, you can multiply it and replicate it?
I think like only up until like now, or starting now, do I feel comfortable like I have a process down and that I can replicate.
You have an operations manual?
No.
You need to create one.
I need to create one. I just read this book, How to Create One. So it's like in my head, but I got to get it on paper. And that would be great to have. That's why I was like, I kind of know, but I got to get it on paper.
Once you get it on paper, it helps clarify things. Do you write it all?
I do. Yeah.
Writing helps. I feel like just writing things helps me understand a lot about what I'm doing, even if it It doesn't necessarily lead to something I need.
Yeah. You just get, even like for the simple fact of emptying your thoughts onto paper and remembering to wash out the dog bowl.
Yeah. I deal with lots of crazy people, which in turn can and has made me crazy. And so to avoid that, I write what I call Lincoln letters. And so Abraham Lincoln was famous because he would write these real nasty letters when he was pissed off at them. But Mary Todd would take them and throw them away. And she would never deliver them, never put them in the post office, right? And so that's what I do. I just write these terrible, terrible messages to people, and then I never send them. And then I forget about it.
Yes, I do that too.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll burn them. It depends on
You
how.
burn them.
Yeah.
You burn them. Okay. That's a whole other
Got to
level.
make sure nobody finds
Yes,
it.
no one sees this.
Yeah.
If you were to do that out here, where would you open up your next location?
Okay, the first place I thought of was like West Loop. Because I feel like a lot of our clientele is like similar to people that kind of hang out in West Loop. Other than like this area where there's like moms and clientele like that, you know?
Is your clientele more, I'm older than you, more your and my age or like 20 years older?
Yours and my age.
Is it?
Yeah.
West Loop would be perfect then.
Yeah.
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 So it's younger people with disposable income who want to look good.
Who want to look good, yes.
Are they doing it on the like subscription? Do you have a subscription model?
We don't have a subscription model.
Do you have a subscription model?
I don't know. I have seen other places that have it, and I don't like. Okay, in our industry, it can kind of cheapen things in a sense. Like there are big chain places that have it, and they do like specials all the time. They have subscription
No specials.
models.
But the way I look at it is, then the person you're giving them a small discount to give them the incentive to use it regularly.
Yeah.
And then you have the recurring income, so you have the reliability of that. But also, then they definitely do it. Like
Right.
I'm terrible with my hair. My hair, I don't get it cut regularly. Should, but I'm also like I like how it looks different lengths, and like it doesn't bother me long. Like it bothers some people long, apparently.
Your hair bothers some people?
People give me feedback.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm not kidding on that. It's very funny.
Okay. Do you write letters to them?
No, I know. I write them off.
You write them off?
I write them off. But I just pop and get a haircut anywhere.
Okay. Really?
I know. People think.
Oh, that's risky.
People think I'm. Well, what's the difference between a good haircut and a bad haircut? 2
it
weeks.
depends on who.
2 weeks.
Oh, okay. But for a guy, I guess
I think for a woman, you have more play.
it depends on your hair.
Well, most women's hair is longer, so I feel like if they screwed it up, you could just take a ½ inch off and it'd be okay.
Yeah, I've seen. I don't know. That's risky.
Yeah, you would never do that. Most people would never do that.
I feel like most people would never do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
so-
but you just go anywhere.
That's what I do, and I just pop into places. Now I have a few places that I've gotten comfortable with, but I just pop in because I don't like to schedule it, and
Yeah.
getting it, like, it's so annoying sometimes. And go to sign up for it, and they're like, use the app, and so I'm like, dude, I just want to pop in and use it. Like I come in 1 o'clock in the afternoon. How many people could you possibly have, right? Point being is, if I had to go every 6 weeks, and I've tried this, I've tried to like set it up ahead of time, but there's no recurring thing for the haircut. Now they have these ridiculous payment plans, or not payment plans, but like they do have these subscriptions, but it's way too much money. And like you can get your haircut as often as you want. It's $150 a month. I'm like, yeah, but that's not going to work for me.
Right.
And if there was I'll tell you this, if there was one near my office or near my home that I could walk to, I might do that. But then I'd probably get my hair cut every week or 2 weeks. But the only reason I would do that is because I would hope that my frequency in that location would build relationships, would therefore transact into business
For yourself.
for myself.
Yes.
That's why I would do those things. But all the places that offer those models aren't a place I can pull up and park to or walk to.
Do you feel like it's hard to be like a normal person in the real world because you're always considering things like that? Like, is this an opportunity for me to network?
Yeah.
You know what I
well,
mean?
I wonder if I'm like a sociopath because of it.
Right. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
You're like,
what
how
it
does
would
this
be like.
how does this help me?
How does this help me? Yeah.
So here's my answer to that. Yes, but what I've learned is just do the thing. Like
Yeah.
just do the thing for the right reasons. I don't ever do anything. It can't be my sole reason. I will definitely, I will push me in the right direction to do something, but but it won't be the only reason I'm doing it, right? Like so why do you think we do these?
I mean, when I asked, just to get to know people, because you're trying to sell me a house?
No.
What he was explaining was just to get to know different businesses in the area, which makes sense because then you have a better feel for what the area is like as a whole.
That's right. And so it's to meet different business owners, but also it's because if you don't have a real estate person, you can refer someone to here. Like I want to be that person, right? And so I just want to build relationships with the people in my area, and then I can do the same thing for you.
Right.
And so I used to be part of this business networking organization. I did it for 7 years. And for 7 years, I woke up every Thursday morning and was in the restaurant by 7 a.m. Okay, downtown at like 1 South Wacker. For 7 years, I did this. And I stopped doing it because it stopped being profitable for my business. But those relationships that I built there, I still have many of them today. And some of them have gotten me surprising business, very surprising business. And so I want to recreate that type of thing where there's like we've done 40 something of these interviews. Right. And so I'd like to find a way to connect all those people, but I don't think all those people are like-minded. So for instance, do you know what Blowout Junkie is?
Yes.
So our second interview, I think, was with them, right?
Okay.
And so they have a few locations. Now, I've never directly referred them any business, and they've never directly referred me any business. But if someone was having this conversation about like, I need to get my hair done, I'm like, go to Blowout Junkie, right? And so I want to have those type of contacts and relationships to be able to do that and genuinely do it.
Right.
You know, and it's cool when business owners know each other because we all know the same shit that we go through. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Doesn't matter what your business is. If you write checks and you sign leases and you take on obligations for things every single month, that's the job. Yeah. It doesn't really matter what you're doing because we're all doing the other stuff in the back. The stuff we're all doing in the back is all the same. So that's why we do this.
Yeah. All right. Love that. I asked all my questions.
Okay, so you would do it in the West Loop.
I would do it in the West Loop. I haven't given it much thought, but that would definitely be if I were to open up a second location there.
I'm surprised you haven't thought about it more.
I'm just trying to get this. You know, I need that manual probably. I need that, and just to get this, you know, running as smoothly as possible before I do a second location.
You need this 100%.
Yes.
So I would think that dreaming about the next location would expedite you doing this.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, the other thing that we're kind of having to worry about is, well, not worry about, but that's coming up is our lease will be up here in December. Yeah. So I've also learned about different types of leases and like things like that that I have to take into consideration.
Do you have to exercise your option soon?
Yes.
Is it a 6 month? Do you have to do it 6 months in advance?
No.
No.
I can decide. I don't have to say anything. I can stay or go or whatever. Okay. So I want to stay here in Lakeview because I love this location, but I'm like, I need to figure this out first. Yeah. You know? But now I know, so if I go to open up a second place, you know, I'll just be more prepared for that. But so that has to happen before I decide to go somewhere else. So
I think we've asked a lot of questions.
Yeah.
It's been lots of fun. Thank you for your time.
Oh, so you guys can just call our number. It's 773-431-3558. Or you can follow us on Instagram. It's just Rebel Lash and Brow.
Not just. It's Rebel Lash and Brow.
It's Rebel Lash and Brow.
I hate just.
Never going to say it again.
I know. It's the worst. Someone was like, just do your little videos. I was like, my little videos? And just do them? I was like, okay, take your little hammers and your little nails and you build your little home. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, cool.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
If you want to watch another My Chicago podcast, click here. If you want to see exceptional Chicago properties, click here. Thanks for watching.